No, these things are just monsters. And it's crazy because on the outside, I mean, I'm not gonna call it cute, but it's not like the most
smallest family sedan you'll ever see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call it cute, but I'm not gonna say it's the most aggressive car I've ever seen, and yet it can really stomp some cars. It's really pretty interesting. Hello everybody and welcome to Skrrt Garage. On today's video, we're gonna take this car right here, a 2018 BMW M2 with the manual transmission, up against this very nice Audi RS3. And both of these cars are actually modified. This has a stage 1 91 octane tune, and this has a stage 2 91 octane tune. So yeah, let's introduce this car real quick. And the owner, he's a good friend of mine. Come on over, this is Seth. He's gonna tell us a little bit about this car and some of the supporting mods that it has. So how long have you had the car?
Just under a month actually.
A month. And
yeah.
Did it come already full bolt-on, or did you kind of do some of that stuff?
No, I haven't touched it. I bought it full stage 2, set up with all APR parts. I plan on going E85 at the end of the month, but right now, I mean, it's just regular stage 2 from APR.
This thing is going to be scary with E85. So I actually remember I was telling him I wanted an RS3 for a really long time, and it's because these, under certain RPMs, they can make those V10 noises, right? That's great.
Dude, yeah, due to the exhaust pulses from the 5-cylinder, it kind of mimics the sound of like the R8 or the Huracan. It's really similar to that 5.2.
And guys, he would know. He drives those cars all the time. Like, this is Mr. Exotic right here. So yeah, very cool car. And we were actually just talking, this is kind of like, to me, this car right here is kind of like the Audi engine. I know that the RS5 is technically the like higher up the food chain car, but to me, this is the one. It has the 5-cylinder, like the original Audi Quattro, the rally car that we all dream about. So I think it's really cool. And to me, the tuning potential of this car is outrageous.
RS3! Fucking adventure ball! I need them!
Oh, they're so efficient in the way that they actually have direct injection and port injection from the factory. So the aftermarket support and the capability of these engines is crazy.
That's a big deal when you turn up the boost, because port injection and direct injection, if you don't have both, then you can get a lot of blowback, and that kind of gums up engines. And this is like already ready to go to handle and be ready for all that boost.
Yeah.
So what is the claimed horsepower on this car?
APR advertises 440 wheel horse and torque with the stage 2 setup, and then with E85, I think it's about 520 horse and 500 torque.
Woof. This car is gonna have its work cut out for it. I haven't had it dynoed, so I don't know for sure, but it should be around 420 or 430, maybe 440. I'm not sure. But this car, I'll tell you real quick, it has a front mount intercooler, it has a downpipe, and it has a metal charge pipe. It has all the goodies that you need if you are going to be doing stage 2 on this car. And this is fully ready to handle stage 2. I just don't have it running stage 2 because I track it and I didn't want to overload it on the racetrack. So I probably honestly should have tuned it to stage 2 before today, because I'm a little worried now hearing about this thing. Plus it is actually really cold. How cold is it today? Like 30 something?
About an hour ago it said like 27. So
oh my gosh.
It's freaking freezing in here.
Too cold.
It's very cold, very cold. Yeah, I hope all that wheel horsepower you have helps you spin. But this does have all-wheel drive, a version of it, right?
Haldex. Yeah, so it's all-wheel drive-ish. It's front-wheel drive bias, but it does have a drive shaft going to the back with the clutch, so it does put power to the back when it needs it.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. That is very cool. So carbon fiber goodies. Yeah, we like that. Nice, dude. I don't think I've ever actually seen one of these.
Yeah, so the turbo sits at the back of the engine. It has a 4-inch turbo inlet, which connects to the rest of the intake system. And then it has a catless downpipe and catless mid pipes, as well as a bigger front mount intercooler. Yeah, Malacca Motorsports YouTube channel out there, they actually managed to stuff a VR6 turbo into one of these cars, which is insane because it's so tight in there. There's no space for anything.
So it's really funny you say that, because Malacca Motor, that's when I actually was looking and curious at getting one of these cars, because they were beating like Huracans and
there's a video
whatever, like
happening, and it's like 30 minutes of just IMS 850 and IMS 1000 cars just beating everything on the planet.
no, these things are just monsters, and it's crazy because on the outside, I mean, I'm not gonna call it cute, but it's not like the most
smallest family sedan you'll ever see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call it cute, but I'm not gonna say it's the most aggressive car I've ever seen, and yet it can really stomp some cars. It's really pretty interesting. And this, is there anything more Audi than a 5-cylinder? I know I've already said it, but that's really, really cool. Okay guys, I should probably explain what's gonna happen here. On these dig races, because the weather was below freezing, the RS3 owner decided to be very gracious and to help me out. Remember guys, I have a manual transmission, M2, that's rear wheel drive, and even when the weather is great, even when you have great tires and it's 80 degrees outside, it still fights traction. So you can imagine what happens when you're in 20-degree weather. Anyways, the RS3 owner allowed me to get the hit, which first off, that means in kind of dig racing that he's gonna go after I do. So basically, I set the tone. I go and then he follows. The other thing the RS3 owner allowed me to do was to get one car length ahead of him on the start. So he obviously has launch control being an automatic car. I do not. I was just trying to work the clutch as best as possible, and you're gonna see what happens right now. I could not lead the line to save my life, dude. Okay guys, obviously the standing start, dig races were terrible for the M2. The RS3 caught it almost every time before I even got to 60 miles an hour. And half of that is because the M2 is just really hard to launch, especially in freezing temperature, and the fact that it's manual. But the other half is that the RS3 is extremely fast off of the line. And its automatic transmission is super quick shifting. So that was kind of always going to happen. I think every single time he caught me at or before 60 miles an hour. And I will say, to you guys who own BMWs, you kind of know the manual transmission in the BMWs, it's a little bit reluctant to be forced into second gear. You kind of have to just wait on it a little bit. And so that does play into the 0 to 60 times a little bit. But let's quickly talk about the roll races. Now, I want to retract something I said at the start of the video. At the start of the video, I mentioned how my car is on a stage 1 91 octane tune and that the RS3 was on a stage 2 91 octane tune. I have the capability of switching my car to a stage 2 93 octane tune, which is all I ever have in the car, 93 octane, and it has all the parts to be stage 2. I just never run it like that. And truthfully, I didn't think that by changing it to stage 2, it would have made a difference. And now I kind of think it would, because after I watched these races back, I noticed that when we both take off in third gear at 60 miles an hour, it's really pretty close. I think he's still pulling on me, but I do think that with an extra 20 horsepower, which is probably what would end up happening if I changed to a stage 2 93 octane tune, that would definitely help. Now I must admit, I do think that ultimately, even if I had stage 2 93, I still kind of think that the RS3 would win, and here's why. When you're driving a manual transmission turbocharged car, every time you clutch in, the boost disappears, and you have to rebuild it every gear. And it's really, really slight, but there's like a half-second delay every time, and then the boost comes back, and then you're ready to fly again. And so every gear, not only are you getting this initial lurch forward and stopping of momentum because you're clutching and going into the next gear, but there's also another half-second delay while the turbos have to re-spool up again. And that's just one downside of having a manual transmission car when you're trying to do rolling races. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love this car. I love the fact that it's manual, but in this scenario, and at least from what I've seen, in order to beat a very good automatic, you almost have to have more horsepower in order to compete with an automatic car. And it's interesting that I say that because I rode an RS3 after these races, and the number one thing I felt was my car feels as fast, but only for brief moments, because at that brief moment when it feels that quick, I have to clutch in and shift. And so the moral of the story is, if I had stage 2 and I had a DCT, I think that this race would be very, very interesting. So maybe in the future, if we can find a DCT car that has full bolt-on, that would be a sweet race to do. Anyways, leave a comment down below. What do you guys think of these races? Which car would you end up buying? For what reasons also? Let me know in the comments down below. Love you guys. We will see you on the next video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a subscription. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.